Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. I got here a bunch of pliers from a company called Muromoto Tekko, which is a company from Osaka, Japan. It is probably a name that you have not really been familiar or accustomed to hearing yet. So I'm going to feature basically a spotlight on this company. They have two brands. One is called Mary, as you can see, and that is their hand tool division or pliers division. And they have another division called Nile Tools, which is their pneumatic division. This company has been around for 90 years. The Mary Tools lineup is basically that long, while their Nile division is about 50 years old. So I have 4 items here, which is my new purchase from 2020, January, while I have a bunch of other ones off to the side, which I'll be, talking about them throughout the video. And those were purchased from years before. These 4 items I purchased from a company based in the United States. I think they are the sole distributor for Nile and Mary Tools. They're based in Ohio. So I'll leave the link down below so that you can take a look at their website. They have an English PDF catalog, which is pretty good. I wouldn't say the translation is spot on, but the pictures will nonetheless or the variation, the variety, the breadth of their products would probably surprise you. They have quite the gamut when it comes to pliers, and also their pneumatic cutting tools like shears, cable strippers. They have a bunch of pneumatic tools. If you're interested in their industrial assembly lineup of tools. But today's video is going to be featuring Mary's hand tool pliers. So I should also point out that this is not a sponsored video. I purchased these myself. These 4 pliers came up to be $90 US, including shipping, and in addition to their 10% discount applied as well. And I just checked earlier, they still have the 10% off discount. So with that out of the way, let's discuss about the tools themselves. As you can see, they have the part numbers LLL, that signifies their long length or long reach pliers. In the past, in fact, my first JTS episode, I talked about these Mary pliers, also from the same series. They have in total 5 of them, so I have 4 of them here. The 5th one is basically this format, only instead of being flush cut that this one is, it is a semi-flush cut version. So these guys here, as you can see, vinyl grip. I noticed that the handle arc is not it's not a smooth radii, but rather they have a slight a flat zone right here. Something that I noticed while handling them, and not featured or mentioned in the catalog themselves. They are more precision oriented, as you can see. Very slim profile to them. Take a look at the grinding. These are manually ground down. Being that this is a straight tip, pretty easy to get a nice uniform asymmetrical grind. The tips joining looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the bent needle nose. These are obviously going to be a little bit more difficult to make a completely fine, perfect finish uniformity, as you can see. But that is, I wouldn't say that is outside of industry standards. We don't have robotics machining these plier tips down. These are made in Japan in Osaka. Here's, as you can see, all three of them have non-serrated jaws. This is a blunt tip. So there we go. Pardon me. So that is in addition to this guy here, which is actually my second pair of Mary pliers that I've purchased over the years. I've had cut many things, plastic, small gauge, copper, stranded wire cables, pardon me. So these have fared quite well over the years of use. Now let's move on to this guy here. It is 225 millimeter long, or 9 inches long. They are quite heavy duty at the joint, as well as this semi-long nose type of style, which have cross serrations on both ends, which are really deeply cut, really coarse jaws, and they have no cutting edge, and they are really geared towards pulling, pushing, bending, that type of work. So I haven't really come across this type of sort of a semi-long nose heavy duty type pair of pliers before, so I thought I would add that into my collection. Let's take a look at the product card itself. In the back here, you'll notice they kind of just quickly give you a rundown of the sort of lineup of pliers or hand tools that they offer. I would strongly suggest taking a look at the Nile Mary North America Tools website for their digital catalog. You'll be able to see the breadth, the whole variety of tools that they offer, both in pneumatic and hand tools. Now let's move on to, let's see, I got this one here, which I bought a few years ago. This is a flush end cutter, namely for plastics, but also I have snipped the ends off of small gauge wiring. But I think these are more oriented towards cutting plastic, like cutting off the ends of zip ties. There you might run into situations like I have where you don't have access from the side to use your diagonal cutters, and you only have a straight shot to it, and this is where a plier like this will come in handy to cut the ends off those zip ties nice and flush. So now you might, the depth of cut I thought would be a bit of a hindrance, but it's not really the case, because zip ties do have a bit of give to it. You can go in at an offset, but then since the zip tie has a little bit of give to it, you can still apply the cutter, make your cut nice and flush. So that is the type of application that I have been using this for. They have different lengths. They have a long reach version as well. Next up is this one here. These were actually the first pair of Mary pliers that I have purchased. I bought these like 8 years ago in Japan, so this was my first encounter with the brand name. I bought these from the Factory Gear tool store in Osaka. Like I mentioned, this is the city where they are manufactured. So weird looking pliers. What are they for? They are for, their official name is a decoupling tool. Those electrical connectors, let's think automotive. The connectors where you need to depress either a single locking tab or a dual locking tab to release the. So this is a tool to release those connectors instead of using your hands. Like think of those cold days where you don't have a lot of gripping power because your hands are so cold. This will basically replace your fingers or hand to make your job, your life a lot easier, your job a lot easier. It's long reach compared to your hand. You might be in an area where you can't quite get your hands in there until you remove something else that might be in the way, and that takes time. In the meantime, you can grab your decoupling pair of pliers and get to that without removing that. So that is also time efficient. You're raising your productivity. So for any automotive technicians out there, who may not have a tool like this, for me at least, it has been kind of a game changer, a life changer type of, sort of like in that level of a tool. So this would be my first pick if you had to get something from, if you wanted to get something from Mary, and you happen to be an automotive technician where you've encountered lots of situations where, you had to deal with those damn connectors that can be very stubborn at times. That is a welcome tool, a welcome addition to your tool arsenal. I would also like to feature this guy here from KTC. It is a very similar tool. Well, in fact, it's the same thing. Only that the KTC ones come with interchangeable tips. There's 3 different tip profiles that you can insert, and they're held on using these set screws on the side here. So just to quickly illustrate that, there you go. There's a flat where the set screw registers against, and you can insert your your other jaw. So you get the idea. Why don't I just set this up really quickly here? Let's see. Oh, I got 2 different tips here. So I just want to quickly show you the difference between the Mary and the KTC. I'm just going to set the 2 jaws that are, because the Mary ones don't come with different jaws. Only the KTC offers different jaws. So I got those set. I just wanted to compare the differences between the 2. They both have serrated jaws, slightly different, but nonetheless serrated. The KTC opens wider than the Mary and also has a deeper reach. So those 2 are the key differences between the KTC and Mary. However, the rest of the tool is very similar, short of the grips, some finishing details, but I have a feeling Mary is the OEM for KTC tools. Anyhow, that is that. Next up, last but not least, are these snap ring pliers. Some years ago, I wanted to upgrade my cheapo snap ring pliers from the bargain bin aisle type to something that was more professional grade. And obviously I looked at different brands, Nipex and Viha, Facom being 3 of the other ones I looked at. Pardon me. But I just didn't feel like shelling out a whole bunch of money for having, a set of like 8 or 10, long offset in out. I looked at convertible types, interchangeable tip types. There were unfavorable reviews for some of them, but obviously at the time there wasn't a lot of interest in Japanese tools, maybe except for me. Well, maybe not just me, but you know, there was basically nothing, no mention about these Mary ones. So I wanted to give these a try for the fact that you get nice quality tips. Each pair, by the way, in and out, they both come with 5 different tips of different dimensions, sizes, reach. Let me just get a close up here without dropping anything. So yeah, rather than shelling out a whole bunch of money, I decided to get these ones. This is for illustrative purposes only, but just to show that you get 2 different types of offsets, which is not a feature found in other interchangeable tip snap ring pliers that I've come across. Obviously you can do it straight, so you get 3 different ways to mount these interchangeable tips, and each of those tips are set by, again, you guessed, set screws. So they don't have any flats on them, but I don't think that really matters. It's not like you're going to be twisting and prying your snap ring. And another interesting feature about these snap ring pliers is that they have a min-max opening adjustability, or stops, using these screws. So that will basically change your max opening and min opening. So for production work, if you are always using snap ring pliers for a particular application, you can set your min max to be at the optimal position. So again, I thought that was all these features compounded into kind of a no-brainer choice for me. I get to save a lot of space in my toolbox by not having a whole dozen of them. Rather a small, compact footprint is required. I just stuff all the tips in there, and that's how I've been doing it. Since I don't encounter snap ring pliers very frequently, I thought that was the best choice for me, and it might be for you too. So that pretty much covers everything that I want to talk about in this video. I hope that gives you an idea, just a really small glimpse of a snapshot of Mary Nile tools. Maybe no Nile tools here, but Muromoto Tekko as a Japanese pliers manufacturer. Maybe you might be interested in taking a look at more of their stuff. So I hope you have a good day, and until next time, you guys have a good one.